Hi, my name is Tyler with Electric Personal Training, and today we're going to be going over a few different side crunches that we can do to work the torso flexion, lateral torso flexion of the obliques. So the basic side crunch is a great exercise to start with, and there's really a couple ways to do the basic side crunch. The first version is going to be more of a variation on the typical crunch. It's going to involve a little bit of rotation to involve the obliques and less side-to-side flexion, but nonetheless it's still going to hit the obliques. And the way this is typically done is rather than coming straight up on our crunch, we're going to come to the side almost across our body here. This isn't a huge change from the typical crunch, and to hit the obliques better and remove the rectus abdominis, we can fully shift to the side, leaving one arm out. Now this arm isn't going to do anything. It's very tempting to push off the floor, but just like we don't want to pull our head on a regular crunch, we just want to leave this arm out. Whatever you want to do with it, you can put it wherever. It's not going to be doing anything. I like to put my arm up to have a target, and I'm bringing my elbow to my knee here. So we're coming up and down and up and down. Now you'll notice my bottom shoulder is not coming off the ground. That's because I'm not pushing here. If you find yourself here, you're pushing off your elbow. This isn't where we want to be. You should only be able to rotate here with that lateral torso flexion, reaching our elbow towards the knee. It's not a huge range of motion, but you will feel that tightness right in that oblique on the top side. You're going to want to do this on both sides to work the obliques really well. Now, if we want to increase our range of motion, we can do the boxer crunch with a partner or on our own, but it is a fun partner exercise to perform a regular sit-up, but coming across and punching across as though we're reaching super far. It can be fun with a partner to high five to get that confirmation of range of motion, but another fantastic exercise for the obliques, it is a variation on the side crunch. The boxer crunch is going to be pretty exhausting, but if you're a master at it, you can always add a decline bench with any crunch variation that isn't too sideways so that you can get more range of motion. Now, another option we have when we're doing the side crunch is a standing side crunch. This is going to be great if you need another way to load things. Crunches typically are a little tough to load, or if you get lower back pain from mat exercises, this is another great option for you. Now the first and probably the most common is the dumbbell or plate loaded standing side crunch, which is going to involve holding a weight and shifting side to side. Now do take advantage of the full range of motion. Typically on a mat exercise, we have the floor here, so we can't get the full stretch, but we want to get this full stretch on our obliques. And notice I'm not bending anywhere but at my waist. You don't want to bend at your knees, and you definitely don't want to be bringing it up and rowing it here. We're working the obliques. A quick note that will clear up a common form issue is holding a weight on both sides. Now, this is going to cause you to balance. You're going to have your weight here opposing the flexion and your weight here assisting in it. So it might feel slightly harder to lift. That's just due to the higher mass. You have a higher inertia. It's going to be more of a physics thing. But with the weight on both sides, it's not going to make it so you're working on both sides. It's really going to reduce the amount of work in total on both sides and reduce the amount of tension that your muscles have to apply to get you down. Think of it like a scale. Your arms are the sides of the scale, and if you load them both equally, you don't have to do anything to make it move back and forth because they already balance. Any shift in it is going to be relatively simple. Now, we can also do this with a cable, which is typically easier to load. Oftentimes, the weight we're using on the plate or dumbbell loaded will become a little much on our forearms, and it can help to use a cable just to assist in that. Or if you just prefer the feeling of the cable, it can be a little bit better, or even just an option for variation. I would usually recommend using a platform because otherwise I'm going to hit the bottom of my cable before I get to a full stretch on the obliques. So if you have access to something to stand on, it could even just be a 45-pound plate, just to give you that extra few inches of range of motion. Same idea, we're coming back and forth, and back and forth. And my previous comment is going to become a little more apparent if you think about it in terms of cables. If I was to pull a cable here, which is going to be very similar to gravity when I put the cable at the bottom, it's going to pull me this way just as much as I'm being pulled this way. And so there's not going to be as much of an issue when it comes to flexing the obliques, but we want there to be an issue. We want them to be struggling. So it's going to create less stimulus for the obliques if we're doing them at the same time. Go one at a time. I promise it will benefit your side crunches. Now for our third variation of the side crunch, we have the mat option, we have the standing option. Now we're going to have a kneeling side crunch, which you can do with a cable set at the higher setting, which is going to be very similar to the cable crunch, the regular cable crunch, except this time we're going to be coming at the side. We're going to grab our cable, take a knee here, and we're going to flex down, back up, and down, and back up. This is a little bit tougher because if you notice, I'm not pulling down here. I'm going to be flexing to the sides, just like so, using my core. This can typically be a little tougher just because you're going to want to use your arm, want to use your shoulder, want to use your lats, but if you're able to keep your arm in that position, it's a great way to really control the range of motion without using anything but your obliques. And that's about going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this content and want to see more fitness content from EPT, go ahead and subscribe here for more videos, as well as on Facebook and Instagram at EPT Evanston. And if you haven't already, check out our free fitness tracking app on the App Store for free, available now.